He had the same problem in Carolina that Saquon had in New York. And he was still putting it down. And I remember that when they made that deal, because they paid a lot to get him, and it's paid dividends. And I think Howie's trying to get that same type of production from Saquon, and I think he can do it. And I was talking yesterday on Twitter. I had no idea. I mean, I did. I just wasn't paying attention to it. I think I underestimated how bad New York's offensive line was. I think the Eagles statistically had, when you go into those analytics and stuff that people use, Eagles were number one offensive line. New York was 31st. I know there's a stat out there that says Saquon Barkley got hit behind the line of scrimmage like some ungodly amount of times. It was like stupid. And he still managed to, get 1,000 yards. And I remember when we played him. The whole thing is you got to stop Saquon. You got to stop Saquon. But the fear was you're going to stuff him, tackle for loss, tackle for loss, tackle for loss, but then he'll hit you with a 60-yarder. No gain, tackle for loss, then he hits you with a 30-yarder. That was the thing against Saquon. Or they hit you with a screen and he takes it 25 to the house. That was the thing about Saquon. You could stuff him because the offensive line was just god awful. But every now and then you knew he was going to break one off on you. And you were trying to relegate that. Well, now Saquon, again, he's on grass. Number two, he's got the best, arguably, offensive line in football. He's got one of the best quarterbacks. He's got two of the best receivers. And he's got one of the best tight ends. So he's got all complementary weapons. So, yeah, I'm expecting big things. Could we have had those big things with DeAndre Swift? Absolutely. The problem with DeAndre Swift was the coordinators didn't call the plays. Coordinators wasn't pulling the trigger. How many times we could have had DeAndre Swift going deep on a linebacker? They didn't pull that trigger. They didn't design those plays for whatever reason. Maybe I'm wrong. I didn't see it. There were a lot of different things that they could do. Everybody hops around. When you hop around, it depends on what your offensive line is doing. Backs want nothing more than to go to the hole untouched. That is nirvana for a running back. To be able to get through that hole and get to the second level and nobody has touched you. That's why, as funny as it sounds, when you see a running back go through the hole and you get a defensive tackle or a linebacker that's reaching out and trying to touch you with a hand, that's why running backs try to move out the way, because they don't want to be touched. They don't want to be touched. They want to get to the end zone untouched.